What's up, motivators? My name's Gates.
I'm Lenora.
And today is a pretty awesome, epic day because we are starting something brand new. We are starting the Moto Trucker podcast and pursuit. We are going to be targeting some of the people that we're most passionate about since we were trucking back in 2012, the trucker community. So, without any further ado, today we'll give you a little bit of background, and then we are going to bust our first podcast open with wrist health. Talking about wrist health today.
All right. So most of you who've been following us or who know us and what we do, we've been on this business journey for the past 5 years, right? And we've been focused mostly on personal development and personal training and, finding functional fitness for everyday life. And that's what our goal is now, moving into this industry with trucking. This is not a new industry for us. We've done this before. So it's just coming back to it and relearning exactly what it is that we need for our optimal health. And now we're coming with this 5 years of knowledge and how to build the strength in your ligaments and joints and etc.
How do you live a motivated life out here on the road? How can you stay out here long term without feeling depressed and suffering pain and anxiety and anger and honing good relationships back at home with your kids or your parents or your spouse or your friends even. You give up a lot. This lifestyle, the trucker lifestyle, long haul, over the road, just any trucker, but over the road specifically is a different beast. And you guys, at least we feel, we're neglected, right? Everybody doesn't really know where all the stuff on the shelves come from. Well, we're here to serve you. And what we want to do is take all of our knowledge and passion for living the good life and bring it out here on the road, teach you how we've applied it over the last few months and how we think we can help you apply it to your life.
Yeah, exactly that. When we talk anything about fitness specifically or improving, physical health, we're always just focused on what's going to make your truck, what's going to make your body most efficient while you're doing trucking. That's what I mean. And
right, because it's not all about fitness.
No.
The same way it's not all about money. The same way that it's not all about relationships.
Exactly. We are trying to live a more well-rounded, balanced sort of life, right? And that's what's work for us personally, where we want to,
enjoy the job.
Enjoy it, exactly. A good example being, we had met another trucker who we had the same, almost exact same load. We were going to the exact same state, delivering to the exact same receiver, and
picked up at the exact same location. That's how we
we picked up
this other truck,
and it was due the exact same day. So he wanted to go and deliver this load.
He wanted to race.
Yeah, he wanted to race us, but
we were like, okay.
But we told him he can already go faster than us. He has his truck governed a little bit faster than ours, and ours is governed a little less. And we don't really plan on changing it, honestly. It works out perfect for us. But anyways, in the meantime, he gets there, 30 minutes or so before us? What was it?
He was there, I think, 4 hours before
right.
We were sitting and waiting. But he could only check in. He got there and got checked in to this receiver about 30 minutes before we did. So as far as I know, they hauled ass over there. I don't think that they stopped to do much of anything, laundry, shower, maybe. And what we did on the way was
We got to stop and see my parents and my sisters, and got to have a home-cooked meal and do laundry and take a shower. And then we took off, and with plenty of time, and the plan was to meet up with my other sister, but then we ran into a NASA museum, you know, and right by a rest area we could park.
I'm wearing a NASA shirt today.
Oh man,
I am destined to tell this story.
So anyway, so we were like, we better take this opportunity, because I don't know when we come back through here, because sometimes you just don't know, or when you'll have the time again. And we had the time. We stopped. We did a long walk when we could have just parked the truck next to the museum. We found out later.
It was the coolest museum. So it was right next to the truck stop.
Yeah.
Or the rest area.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then, so we went toward all that, and then we got back into the truck, and we drove back to, drove to our final, right? And like she said, we got there, 30 minutes after he had checked in. And
so what did we get? I mean, we got this life experience. We got to hang out together. We got
to build a family relationship sort of pillar of our life. We got to work on our relationship and enjoy some, almost like a date, and enjoy that time. And we got to take the dogs on a little walk. It was a great day. The whole trip was really good, but it made us really truly realize that, there's so many times when we just want to get going. But if we have time, some loads, they're not going to take you early, so just enjoy the ride.
And that's the point. And it's not just this industry, it's everybody's life. We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have shit to get done that day. And it's up to us to figure out how we're going to spend that time, where we're going to spend that time, and how you're going to enjoy it or not. It's up to you to really put in the effort for your life. And it can't all be about the money.
Exactly. And then when we first started trucking, that was the first round we trucked before, that was our only main thing that
2012 to 2014.
We were constantly moving just for the money. And
just for the money, we threw all of our shit in storage, didn't have a home, didn't have anywhere to go back to.
We learned some lessons during that time.
Got off the road about
we got more spiritual in that time.
50 pounds heavier?
Oh, yeah. No. I was
about 50 pounds heavier.
I was about 30 pounds heavier. But
if that, I mean, you couldn't even tell.
Whatever.
She looked beautiful. She didn't put on any weight at all.
All right. So, I definitely look chunky. If you guys want to see some photos of that, just look at my Instagram. You'll see some chunky monkey fucking cheeks. So
how do you stay healthy out here, Well, this time we wanted to do it different. We had this whole new experience of being an entrepreneur, of pursuing this, motivated life, building a business around personal development, in your health, wealth, in your finances, in your intelligence, and all these other areas of your life. How can we bring that out on the road? And that's what we're going to talk about. That's what this new podcast is about, and that's what we're going to continue to bring value, hopefully, to you. And if this resonates with you and you're looking and ready to just jump in and make a change, come on this journey with us.
That's very well said, kids. If there's anything that you guys have, you hear on this or see on any of our social media things and you want something specific, please let us know, comment, DM, or call us. It's 417-719-1432. Text is a lot more efficient. It's a little more efficient for us. Yeah,
we've got truckers that are already starting to text us and check in and, hey, how you ladies doing? Even that truck that beat us in that race.
Oh yeah, he definitely win the race.
You won the race.
So let's get into our main topic of today, which is wrist health. So, the reason I started with this specific topic, because one, let me apologize for the video that I had before. I just took some off time with my family and saw the video. I was going through and seeing what it looked like on a big screen, and it looked like garbage. I was like, oh, that's it? So yeah, I apologize for that. On the phone it looks nice, it looks good, but on a big screen TV it looks terrible. So I can't even imagine. I don't have a tablet.
And the content's still good. So I mean, if you can forgive how it looks, you can hear her and you can still do the movements. we challenge you to definitely do that. We recorded it here in our truck. It's definitely things that you can do from the driver's seat. So, you know, you can still give it a watch, and there should be another one coming out, though.
Yeah, we'll try to make a new one soon, just because I can't sit with a video that looks that bad. I don't want to take it down. That's
Always
one of my things. I don't want to take it down because, well, I like to see where we're at. I'm not trying to be like, well, don't look at that.
Because a year from now, we're going to be like, oh, look at that shit.
Look at how awful that was.
We're going to be like, look how amazing we were.
Oh, yeah, always. So it's going into wrist health. I picked it because you can easily see what's going on with the wrist, with the movement. It's a simple, you know, you can sit in your chair and take a good look at your wrist and see what's going on, right? You can see the different movements that's happening with it. So there's 4 different main movements of the wrist, and if you can go ahead and send your hand out, extend the arm out, palm down. Now bring the fingertips towards the forearm, towards you. This is an extension of the wrist. And if we're getting loaded. Sorry, we're getting bonked around. Always working, right? We had the time here at a shipper. So then when you rotate the fingertips down towards you now, towards the floor, this is the flexion of the wrist. And then now we're going to keep the arm extended. Now rotate the thumb up towards the sky, fingers pointing out. And then try to rotate so your thumb comes towards you, right? Now this is the abduction of the wrist, and then we're going to go ahead and send the fingers down, pinky down, and that's the adduction of the wrist. So up is radial abduction, and down is ulnar adduction.
For the 2 bones of the wrist,
yeah.
The radius at the top and the ulna down at the bottom.
So those are the different movements of the wrist. They're pretty simple, other than also rotating through your wrist as well. So
in like a circle.
Yeah, in a circle. So those are the main movements of the wrists, and we are mostly going to be talking about how to build the strength of the wrist, the flexibility, the movement of the wrist, right? But first I want to go through a few different things of why this is even important. Why do we care about our wrist? Now, as a driver, I was doing different research on why do drivers have, is this a common pain that repeat drivers have? Because I was having a little wrist pain because I noticed that I was holding the steering wheel with maybe my wrist pointed, my fingers pointed, knuckles pointed down, my wrist up, or the opposite way. So maybe my hands, I'm holding the steering wheel underneath, and now I have my wrist up, my knuckles down, and it's, just it's that same sort of movement, hours and hours and hours on end.
Kinked in some way.
Yeah, kinked in some way.
Never in a neutral position.
And I have a tendency to really grip hard sometimes, not because I'm stressed out or anything. I just have a strong grip. I don't know why that is for me. So having to loosen up and not be as tense, I would have to stretch my fingers out because I was gripping so hard. So I just want to do a little research of why this is, what sort of pain and issues can come from this. And what we kind of discovered was that there is a musculoskeletal disorders that come from this, which is just prolonged movement with this repetitive movements, things like that cause bone and muscle disorders, right? Pain.
Yeah, that sounds real scientific, musculoskeletal disorders, but it really just means pain in the muscles or the bone, which we have a lot of in a lot of different areas. And real quick on that note, I'd love to hear back from you guys on where we should head from here. I know I've got hamstring pain, starting to feel it in my low back and my upper back a lot. Just what are the pain points for you? And of course today we're going to tackle wrist health, but it's just prolonged pain in the muscles and the joints and the bones.
I had discovered that the pain in ligaments and whatnot, and tendons, ligaments, tendons, and muscles is called, it's called osteoligamentous. That's
totally
different. It's not a Harry Potter word. It's not a spell or anything. It's it's just the relating to the ligaments and the bone, right? Versus musculoskeletal, which is in the name muscle and skeleton, muscle and bone. So both are happening types of pain are happening for drivers. Now, the amount of studies that are out there aren't a lot. Most of the studies were about drivers within a bus, or short haul drivers, or regional drivers. I did see a study for race car drivers, and the only thing that I really found interesting in that one was that the vibration of the steering wheel was causing different pain in their wrists and forearms and etc.
And they suggested a glove?
They suggested not a glove, but a wrist mount, like a pad, like a wrist pad.
Almost like how you would see on like a keyboard?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, that seems weird. How can you drive with that? So some of the things that people are saying for like the wrist pain. So the wrist pain and common disorders that drivers are going to get from prolonged driving this way are similar to people who are working in a warehouse or even at a keyboard. The carpal tunnel, their arthritis, the
low back pain, the neck pain, the upper back pain,
all that stuff,
the shoulder pain, and it's not even from overuse necessarily, it's from being in that position for prolonged periods of time, which is why it's so important to get up and get moving and make times to tackle movement and mobility throughout your day.
And so we're going to show you in a little bit of just some simple movements that you can do for your wrists. But I did, again, wanted to hit some key points here that when I was doing my little bit of research of what was going on, what sort of pain is happening, what's happening with our wrist, right?
Another interesting thing that we found, Lenora, was the 40% rule.
Oh, yeah. So what was cool was that there was a study being done about the movement, the actual what's the ratio of the movement in our wrists for the average person, and it varied between different people because everyone is different, right? You got different flexibility, different strengths, right? But what they found out was that if you can have an average of 40% of range of motion in your wrist when in all four movements, extension, flexion, and then the abduction and adduction of the wrist. That will.
It just means in any direction.
Yeah, in any direction. Yeah. You'll definitely you'll be in the average normal range. If you can do that, that's fine. So if you can maintain the health in that area.
Yeah, and I guaranteed a lot of you, including us maybe, have less than that, just from not practicing a little bit of mobility every day. So we're not asking you to be able to bend your fingers all the way back to touch your forearm. We're talking the goal being a 40% capable wrist range of motion. And I think that that's completely doable. And there's just a couple of movements that if you can incorporate into your daily routine while you're spending 5 or 6 minutes, even after you light up a cigarette, and then play with your wrists, play with your fingers. You have to work it into your day. And so we'll teach you some basic movements that you can do safely while the truck is stopped, probably, and always obey your road safety first. But when you're stopped and when you can fit it in, get this movement in.
Okay, so there's just different things I wanted to talk about real quick was that the different studies of our that are out there are specifically for people at work, the general workforce. That's most of the studies that are out there, right? So the CDC came out with, this I think is old data. I was trying to find newer data, but 2001, 2003 is what they have. And it being about they're missing 6 days of work to go in to get for the pain that they might have in various areas, right? Musculoskeletal pain. And so 6 days as a trucker, as a lease operator, as an owner operator, even as a company driver, that's a big deal. If you're down that long, and it's you're sacrificing your whole life to be out here on the road dealing with the day-to-day stress of what the road is. And you're trying to live better, while you're doing it, but you don't want to be down because of continual pain or an injury that forces you to be down, right? You can't drive because of it.
No, for sure. You want to be home enjoying your home time.
Yeah.
You should enjoy your off time. You shouldn't spend it recovering from pain. you want to go home and play with your kids or go on a great vacation or pay off your house or whatever your goal is.
Exactly. So there's some interesting things that I thought was, I'm sure the number's higher now, but 70 million people on average go and see the doctor for this pain, a physician for this pain annually. And then 130 million go to the ER or, you know, those different clinics and whatnot annually.
The ER.
Yeah.
That's extra money.
That's insane. So yeah. And we all know in the trucking industry, nothing happens in the most optimum. You don't break down at the most optimum time. We just had to, we had to break down during, and it was Friday at night, and we had to get something fixed, so we had to wait till Monday. So, we were down for 3 days because they couldn't see us to actually Tuesday. So yeah. So
it's Memorial Day right now, or no,
Memorial Day weekend, and so
Memorial Day weekend, everyone.
So everyone's gonna be out there doing this stuff, and then and of course things happen, and it's not really optimal time for you, right? So think about these sort of things that you don't want to be. If you have to go, you have to go. You know yourself, you know your body, you know what you're capable of doing. Go see a doctor. But if you can do some preventative maintenance, why not? You can make more money. You can save more time and enjoy your home time.
You can reduce pain and suffering and increase longevity for all the things that you want out of life.
Again, we're just trying to improve your truck's ergonomics, your efficiency of how you're working in your truck, and
your happiness.
Exactly.
Increase your happiness.
That's our overall goal.
You should not feel depressed, anxious.
Now, that's not to say
angry
that
all the time.
I don't have those feelings. I definitely have those feelings, but I am working and have worked on different ways to get better and better at it. And I can say that before I started learning more and more about personal development and helping others do this and seeing the different patterns within people, I would get depressed for weeks on end, and then have a couple productive weeks and then be depressed for weeks on end. So now it's gotten way less than that. I can pretty much recover or get myself feeling better or getting back to my groove within a few days, or even faster than that sometimes. And I'm trying to be instantaneous, like Gates usually says, in the moment, instant.
It's hard. Emotional control and all that stuff is this is a long-term game, guys. This is going to be a marathon, not a sprint, as they say. And you work on yourself and work on your life. it's the journey, right? If you
the mile per mile, right?
Yeah, the mile per mile. Every mile. We got to enjoy the journey. If you can't enjoy what you're doing out here, you're really taking a wear and tear, not only on yourself, but maybe those around you. And I think that this can be a high quality life, a higher quality life than what most people live out here.
Definitely. And I've seen some amazing people that are killing it. They're killing it out here. But then they put their health and mental well-being on the back burner. Yeah. So no,
I like to think of it. I was going to say this. I like to think of it as like a grade in school. If I can get a C or better, as in I'm happy 70% or more of the time, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. So, try to maybe take note tomorrow, the next week, and the next month, and just annotate. How do you feel? How do you feel every day? To just take a note Monday on a 1 to 10 or 1 to 100 scale. What was your happiness level?
Yeah. Or maybe where's your pain level? Whether in which areas on it.
Which plays a huge role in your happiness.
Oh yeah, it definitely does.
If you can't get past pain, it's hard to be happy.
Yeah, people with chronic pain issues and things like that.
Absolutely.
I feel very bad for them.
Tough. And this industry, along with our veterans, look, it's hard on the body and the mind. This is one of the most unhealthy industries. And we're out here to improve that.
Okay, so we're going to go through the movements of it. So there's a few different movements that we want to talk about.
Okay, let's go.
With the wrists. So I'll try to put this in the notes of where you can go at what minute you can go to for those of you who are listening just audibly. You can go to the video itself on YouTube and be able to see this video, and I'll put the minute. That way you can just jump to it if you'd like.
Yeah, and we'll put out some good like fitness sort of follow along videos too as we go along here. We've got a lot of big plans and gigs in the works that you guys are really going to find value and benefit from. Can't really emphasize that enough. We got a whole new website launching in October, and just some really powerful things coming over the first of the year, and just throughout. So
specifically geared towards you, the trucker. Before we were focused again on the sedentary lifestyle, and which includes some truckers,
but like office sedentary. Yeah. And this is a different beast. Those guys get to go home every night, as you know, and
they get to stand up and
right?
take a pee break.
Yeah. They're certainly not.
Walk around and all that stuff. So we know that there is a difference, and that's why we wanted to gear everything towards the trucking life. So to jump right into the movements, we're going to go ahead and just list a few, okay? And so we'll go ahead and place the palms together. I forgot which one I was doing. Oh yeah. We'll place the palms together, and we'll go ahead and do prayer hands real quick. So this is called just prayer hands, or whatever you feel comfortable with. But you'll keep the fingers together, or you can open up the fingers so that they're spread apart. That's up to you. So you can just press the palms into each other and stay in this moment. Make sure the shoulders are around and back. And then if you want to add more, you can bring the fingertips up to the nose and slide the palms back down towards the belly button, maybe the middle of the bottom of your ribs, and then come back up to the nose and then come back down. So you'll get a good stretch in your fingers, and you'll start to get some flexibility in your wrists. And you can also do this by rotating the fingers forward, elbows out, shoulders around and back. And bring those fingers back towards you as much as you can, towards the chest, fingers out towards the floor, and bring it all the way back. All right, do this a few times, 30 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, just wherever you feel comfortable, wherever you have the time, right? Another movement, Gates will share.
All right, another thing you can do is just focus on the fingers, right? So put your hand out like you're going to do a high five, and use the other hand to pull back the index finger. Hold and let that flex all the way through the palm, and the muscles that actually move all of these fingers are in the forearm, so they're flexing and stretching all the way back through your forearm. So you pull back one finger at a time, hold it, enjoy it. Notice, like I'm starting to notice that my pinky feels a little extra pins and needly these days when I'm driving, so I'm starting to try to just pay a little bit more attention. This body mindfulness is something that takes time. When we were teaching a lot of our in-person yoga and calisthenics classes, I mean, it's the key, really, but you're not going to have it instantaneously. So when we're talking about driving and doing some of these things, don't forget the thumb, by the way. Pull the thumb back. You really need to learn to hone this body awareness when you're driving, even engaging your core. I mean, there's a ton of things that we'll go into later on. But when you get done with each finger, just come back to the wrist movement. You can also place your hands together and then, interlace your fingers like you're holding your own hand. And go ahead and bring the palms and the elbows together, and then you'll rotate through the wrists. Just take your time, 30 seconds or so going to the right, maybe the other direction, 30 or seconds or so going, and just rotating. We're looking for lubrication and mobility through the bones and muscles of the wrists and fingers.
Okay? The other movements that you can be able to do is actually outside of your truck, and you'll be going outside your truck and doing sort of a modified push-up using your stairs, or maybe if you have a deer guard, use it in deer guard. But I'm mentioning the stairs because I want to have your hands as flat as possible. Usually we would teach this when you're on your mat on the ground, but we all know how dirty the truck stops and the asphalt is. And so I get it. You don't want to be out there. I don't want to be out there. I understand.
I don't. And this is what we're trying to do too, is trying to be a little bit more practical and what we would do. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of these trucker fitness programs still have you on the ground out on the P-fault, the asphalt that is
Covered in trucker pee.
riddled and soaked in trucker pee. And I'm not going to be down there. Not me, not this guy. Sorry. So we want to try to bring something a little bit more practical, at least practical to us.
Yeah.
And hopefully maybe you feel the same way.
We'll definitely
if
try
you
and share
identify.
just stuff that's, that we have tried and it works for us. So,
You're too prissy, but no thanks.
Nah.
It's bad even sometimes when you're standing upright. You're like running
the
and getting
fumes.
out of breath, inhaling, urine smell, and that's not my favorite flower. I got to tell you.
So again, I want you to get out there and get trying to do a push-up, right? So we're going to try and do putting weight in our wrists in sort of a push-up position where your fingers are facing each other, palms are down, and then we'll also do one regular push-up, fingers facing forward, and then we'll try to rotate the fingers are out now, the palms are in, and we'll try to focus on doing sort of hanging out in a push-up position that way. Now this is adding weight into the wrist, so this is strengthening your wrist as well as sort of increasing the extension of the wrist. So take your time with this. Take little baby steps towards it. Figure out where maybe you might have if you have a lot of pain, putting a lot of pressure, all your body, it's not even all your body weight, right, when you're standing up, but even if that's hurting, I would suggest that maybe you just stay seated down and use your hand against your if I had my left hand out, I'll put my right hand behind my left hand. My left hand palm is facing me. My fingers are facing to the right, and I'll use my right hand to press as a resistance against that wrist, and I'll push in my left wrist into that right palm. And again,
She's creating that flexion, right? We talked about the flexion and the extension.
And then the same thing, palm
Extension
out.
back.
And fingers to the right, and again I'm pressing into my right hand. I'm using my right hand as again resistance. So if that's a little easier, more modified way to do it. So if you are looking for more movement or a little more instruction on this, look out for the other video that we'll do for wrist health, and that'll include a little bit more strengthening. But this one we wanted just to target your wrists. Thank you all so much for listening or watching. Please follow us at Moto Me Life if you choose to, and
Do it. Subscribe, like, follow. All of the things.
do all the things. Yeah. If there's any suggestions, as always, I always ask people if you have suggestions, any healthy, feedback. Please let us know.
What else
in the
do you want us
comments.
to talk about?
Yeah, we're happy to talk. We're always and we're happy to collaborate with others. I'm open to a lot of different new knowledge, as long as it's credible knowledge. People have told me some things that, anyways, but yeah, I'm interested. And as a trucker, what are you doing? What are some things that you found out that's just better for you over your health overall, whether it be mental, physical, or emotional well-being? Just let us know. We would love to hear from you.
All right, guys. Stay rolling and stay motivated.